On today's episode, we're going to be unboxing the brand new Paralenz Vaquita. We're going to jump in the water with it, take some test shots, and tell you what we think about it. Stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to tell you how you can take one of these bad boys home for free. Welcome to the channel, guys. If you're new here, we talk about everything underwater photography on my YouTube channel. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification below for to be updated with our new videos. And today we're going to be talking about the Paralenz Vaquita. So recently, Paralenz reached out to me and they wanted me to review their new camera, the Vaquita, which is an action camera, a similar category as you might think of a GoPro or an Insta360. So Paralenz sent me the camera, and here we have it, brand new in the box. I've never dived one of these before. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna unbox the camera, talk a little bit about some of the features of the camera, then we're actually gonna take you guys out on the boat, jump in the water with the camera, and run a few review tests and see what we think about the actual optics and functionality of the Paralenz Vaquita. So guys, please be sure to stay to the end of the video where we're gonna give away 2 Paralenz Vaquitas to a couple of lucky viewers for free. So here we go, guys. This is the unboxing. I've never had one of these before. I've never done any sort of business with Paralenz. They did send me this camera for free, but I'm not working for them. They didn't just send me this, they sent me a lot of accessories. And the one thing I noticed about the packaging is they don't use any plastic, which is fantastic. So as I open the box up, let's see what they've got inside in store for us here today. Okay, it looks like we've got 2 boxes here. And inside we have so as you can see, no plastic in the packaging, great. The camera looks like it's in a little bag, little carrying case. And voila, here we have it, the Paralenz Vaquita. So one of the first impressions that I get from the Vaquita as I pull it out of the box is this really rugged, sturdy aluminum construction. It's not plasticky, it's very heavy in my hand, and although it kind of looks like an underwater flashlight, you can see on the back there's an LCD where you can view the images that you're shooting. Also be able to scroll through the different settings the Vaquita has. The lens is on the front here, and this little action camera is a 12.3 megapixel camera. It captures JPEG images. It does a 4K 60 file. It does 1080 at 240 frames a second. It records in both H.264 and H.265 formats. It has image stabilization, and it's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. Now, all that is, whatever. What's exciting about this camera is that for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know I'm a wide angle, close focus, ambient light shooter. And the exciting thing about this camera is they have come out with a new technology that they're calling the DCC, or the depth color correction. Now that means that as you descend through the water column, this camera is actually color balancing your image depending on what your depth is, which is absolutely phenomenal. It really takes a lot of work out of the process and does everything in camera for you. Now, typically what you'd have to do to get this sort of color correction is with a DSLR or in one of the new mirrorless cameras, you'd have to stop and do a color correction about every 5 or 10 feet. You'd also have to do a color correction if the clouds change or if the time of day is different. There's a lot of things that change the ambient light in the underwater environment that we have to change. Now this is going to do it all for you. Some of the other things that this camera will do, which is spectacular, is it actually has a GPS sensor inside it, and it's going to geolocate you to the dive site. And then in the app that you'll be using to download the images from the Vaquita onto your phone or your desktop device actually has a dive log in it to see the images that you took on the dive site, exactly what depth they were, what was the water temperature, and it's a database for scientists around the world to gather data to help protect our world's oceans. So what we're gonna do today, guys, is we're gonna go ahead and take this apart, get it on the charger, get out on the boat, jump in the water, and see what we can do with the Paralenz Vaquita. So today, we're not only gonna test the the ability for this camera to color correct underwater. We're not only going to test the image quality, but we're also going to test its versatility. So we're going to jump in the water today and we're going to fix mount the Vaquita to my DPV, where we're going to do a free dive with the camera fixed mounted to the scooter. For that dive, we're going to run the camera at 4K 30. Now, we're going to be in DCC, so it's going to color correct whilst we're diving to depth. And then for the scuba dive, when we jump back in, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to 4K 60. The importance of shooting 60 frames per second when you're on scuba or shooting fish generally is that when you post-process the image, you can slow it down to half speed, and then you can give everything that really butters smooth swimming motion. So the first dive, we're going to shoot 4K 30. Second dive, 4K 60. So let's hop in the water and check out the Vaquita. I wanted to show the versatility of this small camera because it's not only used by snorkelers and scuba divers, it's also a beloved camera in the freediving community. One of the reasons for that is it actually has a depth overlay on the screen to show you how deep the image was taken whilst it was being taken. So it's really a versatile camera. Now, as you see, I'm pushing the camera across the seafloor over by the wreck of the ex-USS Kittiwake in my backyard here in the Cayman Islands, one of my favorite dive sites for underwater photography. And you can see there's a little southern stingray with a black barjack on his back. The color of the sand is exactly the color that I see it with my eye. The blues in the background I find a little bit overly magenta, but for a camera of this size and cost, this is an absolutely amazing image. You can see how wide the field of view is here as I approach the Kittiwake from the front. As I pass up and over the top of the Kittiwake, you'll see a lot of the detail in the wreck. It's really a great image from such a small camera. I'm actually shallowing up here, so you'll notice that the wreck, as I passed over the top of it, sort of stayed the same color. That's the depth color control. The alternative to that would have been if I would have done a custom white balance at depth and pushed up over the top of the wreck toward the surface, you'd notice that the closer I get to the surface, the warmer the image would become, and that's not the case here. Entering the water with the Vaquita is very easy. Unlike my larger DSLR rigs or mirrorless rigs, I can just jump right off the boat with the Paralenz in my hand and off we go. Underwater photography can be tricky. Getting your color balance correct is one of the most difficult things I do as an underwater photographer. Now, typically at depth, we start to lose the reds, oranges, and yellows. As you can see here, this yellowtail snapper has a bright yellow streak down the center of it. It's really well represented without the use of artificial lights or a filter. The Vaquita does a really good job of showing the detail in these blue tangs as they swim by. And the other thing that I wanted to point out with a shot like this is that with a DSLR or a mirrorless rig that was color balanced to that depth, as you point up toward the surface, you're going to get an overly warm shot, and the depth color control here is working great. The camera really feels good in your hand underwater. It is a little bit heavy, as you can see here. It's quite negative at a depth of about 50 feet here. They did send some floats with the camera, so if you wanted to use the selfie stick and the floats to shoot the Vaquita underwater, they did send those along. However, I didn't bring them with me along on this dive. So guys, we brought you out here today to one of my favorite sites for underwater photography. We're at Stingray City Sandbar, located on the north side of Grand Cayman on the edge of the North Sound. Now, as you can see behind me, we've got this very shallow sandbar. Now, this is not challenging conditions by any means. What I'd like to test today with the Vaquita, unlike what we did on this free dive and the scuba dive, we're gonna roll the camera in 1920 1080, and we're gonna test the high speed configuration of the camera. So it shoots at 240 frames a second file. Now, the reason we're going to do that is we're going to be able to slow that down in post. So when we play it back, we're going to get this butter smooth, slow stingray action, or that's the plan anyway. So we've rigged the camera today with the pistol grip. Now, as you can see, it fits nicely in my hand. It looks a little bit like a gun. I feel like I'm going to be maybe like doing some speed traps on stingrays as they speed across the Stingray City Sandbar. But it feels really great in my hand. It feels nice and tight. But the cool thing about it is not only can I start and stop it with my index finger, but I can also change the settings. I just need to roll the dial, and I can change the settings by either quick pulling or long pulling on the trigger. So let's hop in the water. Let's go chase some stingrays out and see what we can come up with. If you're in the market for an action camera, I think the Paralenz Vaquita is definitely worth a second look. The thing that I like most about the camera is the depth color correction. I feel like that this technology is going to blend into other camera manufacturers. I just feel like it's the way of the future. You know, no more external filters on the outside of your camera. You know, even if you're shooting this with this depth color correction in camera, you can still make minor adjustments in post like you would with a filtered camera as well. The other thing I like about it is the fact that the camera is able to geolocate you to your dive site. That technology will allow other diving enthusiasts around the world to see your images, to see your videos from a specific dive location, helping them make a better decision as to where they might want to dive in the future. And you know, we can utilize that going outbound as well. So I think overall, it's definitely worth a second look. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we're going to be giving away 2 of these cameras to a couple of you lucky viewers out there right now. So all you have to do to qualify for the Paralenz Vaquita giveaway is subscribe to my YouTube channel, go over to Instagram, make sure you're following Paralenz on Instagram, and then share this video on any of your social sites using hashtag Paralenz Vaquita. Thanks for watching the video. I'm Cayman Jason. This is the way I see it.